Good day, good day, good day. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I hope you can see me okay. I'm trying to get in a spot where this sun isn't attacking me too much. But we're talking about Black women and stress today. I was watching a young lady explain, and she was breaking down crying while she was talking about this. The level of stress that she experienced when her and her husband divorced, and she realized she had 4 kids. She broke down so badly because she was listening to another young lady explain almost the same exact situation that she was going through. She had 4 kids as well, and her and the husband weren't together anymore. She was just extremely stressed out. Now, we can trace a lot of our discrepancies and our issues back to the slave trade. People don't want to realize it, they don't want to talk about it, they want to gaslight us about it, but a lot of the issues that we face today are direct effects and just a ripple effect, domino effect of what has happened, even though it was so long ago. Just because it was perpetuated even years later. I'm going to talk about that later as well. But a lot of Black women are raising children alone, and this is a thing to be talked about as well. This is an epidemic. Women who are single, married mothers. That is definitely a thing. I have seen it happen. I've seen women go through this where they're with a partner and they're still basically doing everything. And just because you have a second person in the house doesn't mean that you are necessarily in a good functioning, high functioning, valuable, relationship, and that is beneficial to you, to other person, or the children. You could just all be residing together and it not be beneficial to anyone, you know? So that is definitely a thing, and that adds to the stress level as well. Now, on the other end, you have truly single mothers where her and the father aren't together anymore. The father died, he's just abandoned them, or whatever the case may be. And sometimes he's just away, for work, or he's in the military, something like that. Those are situations as well where you have a single mother, basically essence, and she's alone. She's still doing everything alone, even though they're still technically married or together, but he's not physically there. And that makes a difference. You can have people that are physically there but are absent mentally and in the day-to-day interactions, and you can have people that are physically absent but on paper you're together. And any and all of these situations still lead to Black women being stressed out, because I'm talking about Black women today. Now, a lot of Black women, especially if you're the older of children, you have seen your mother be a single mother in one capacity or another, and you end up having to raise your brothers and sisters. And so a lot of Black women actually miss out on their childhood because they have to grow up so fast to raise children while they are children. All right. It's going well, low key. How are you today? Hi, G-Man. Now, okay, let's talk about this a little bit. Now, a lot of us are functioning in dysfunction, and we have made it normal to function in dysfunction. There are a lot of things that we do that are totally not okay. They're not okay to our psyche, our emotional state, our spiritual state, and eventually our physical state, because our mental state affects our physical eventually. And we have adopted, and like I said, become so content in the way we've been going that we just don't see that anything is wrong. We just keep going just because we have to keep going. If fathers leave for whatever reason, it's the woman all the time. It's the mother that's left holding the bag. And she's not only expected to, she just feels like she has an obligation to fit the bill and just take care of her responsibilities, no matter what, no matter the cost. And sometimes it does affect the children very negatively, because if she's there alone trying to raise them, especially if it's more than one child, something's going to go lacking. That child is going to go lacking for something, because eventually the mother is not going to physically be there in the home because she has to go out and work as well. Now, first and foremost, when we are stressed out, because this is going to affect a whole lot of other things when it comes to our health. When we're stressed out because of all of these external factors that are going on, racism, raising kids alone, having to work, taking care of aging parents, making sure the bills are paid, it tremendously raises our cortisol levels. And I made another video about the effects of high cortisol levels. So from that stems depression, diabetes, high blood pressure, very high heart disease rates, stroke, and last but not least, fibroids. If I am not mistaken, Black women suffer the highest rate of fibroids. All right. And a lot of us cannot figure out why. A lot of it is because of chemical factors like the relaxers and chemicals we start to put in our hair from a young age. But a lot of it has to do with stress, because a lot of us start out being stressed as young children. All right. For all of the reasons I just said, growing up too fast, having to raise kids while you're still a child, all of those things are making us even more prone to have very high cortisol levels at very young ages. And so if all of that stress just continues to compound over all of those years, and all of that cortisol just continues to compound, guess what? You're going to have a lot of problems, a lot of physical problems, a lot of health problems and ailments and things like that. So for Black women, a lot of the times we just can't figure out what's going on. What is the problem? It's probably because you're stressed the hell out. Your cortisol levels are high as hell, and your body is just starting to tell on you. Hi, Muhammad. How are you? Nothing's not necessarily wrong with me today. I'm just explaining the high stress levels in Black women, trying to explain some of that, And so I also made another video about high functioning depression. A lot of us go because we have to go, not because we want to go, not because we're not tired. It's because we don't have a choice but to go. No one's going to take care of us or our children, our families, if we do not continue to go. So a lot of us just continue to do so until we end up with one of those health ailments that I just listed. All right. And, it's just something that truly needs to be looked at, and a lot of us, unfortunately, get labeled angry Black woman. And that term has been given to us so unfairly, because, I know it's not anybody else's issue to fix our problems, but sometimes people just don't care or fail to understand the root causes of things, And ashwagandha, thank you. I appreciate the recommendation, but I'm just speaking in general, not necessarily about myself, Muhammad. But yeah, Black women have been given the label of angry Black woman, all right? And that title is usually given, from what I've seen, it's been given when we express our dissatisfaction, our frustration, or our mistreatment, maybe even we might be expressing how we're being paid on our job and treated on our job, and discrimination and all of those things, because Black women face almost a quadruple discrimination, because first of all, we're dealing with racism just overall in this country. I'm talking about African American women now. We have racism, and then we have discrimination, and then we have sexism. All right, so we're catching it from any and every corner, and what I want to say is anger is usually a byproduct of fear. All right. A lot of us are functioning and high functioning in dysfunction and in fear. Fear of how we're going to take care of our children, fear of if we're going to be taken advantage of, fear if we're being paid fairly and equitably, being treated equitably, and just all of these different things that just come along with being a woman. All right. So anger sometimes is what people perceive, but it's actually fear. All right. So, and anger is just a natural reaction to being mistreated, to be honest. And anger is a natural reaction to to being fearful, because anyone who just has to be in constant fear, you're going to be in a constant fight or flight mode, which is going to make you paranoid. It's going to make you seem angry. It's going to make you seem irritable and all of that good stuff. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cut this now. Let me know what you all think. And I really appreciate you joining me on this live today. But yeah, this was about Black women and stress, some of the causes of our stress, and the fact that we just continue to live and work through it like it's nothing wrong, but it is something wrong, and we need to come to grips with it. We need to start taking some of these responsibilities off of our plate that we sometimes voluntarily put on our plate, and carrying other people's bags. And sometimes you just have to sit it down. But you all be blessed, and thank you for